So we have all these NGOs. How do the NGOs operate? Oh, the NGOs have a board of directors. Okay, who's on the board? Who is profiting from this, Jake?
Yeah.
And this is where it becomes so easy, right?
Yeah. Who is profiting from this?
Bukele, President Bukele of El Salvador. I'll have a documentary coming out that's called The Great El Salvadorian Comeback. It's called God, Bukele, and Bitcoin. And it's going to show you. So Bukele's been elected for 5 years now. He just got reelected for his second term.
Completely turned the country around.
The first 2.5 years of his first 5-year term were spent basically, like this is Trump 2016, but he doesn't have the House and Senate. Everybody's basically working against Bukele for the first 2.5 years, but slowly makes incremental changes and you start to see the good from the changes that's happening. Eradicating some corruption from inside the local law enforcement, getting more police officers, starting to go after the cartels and arrest cartel, building the mega prisons that you see for 2.5 years. And then finally you get to a point where you can start arresting cartel members and he starts to crack down a little bit. The cartel goes, oh, this is El Salvador. We've ran this country for 80 years. You want to
controlled.
Yeah, you want to try this? They go out and they go on a murdering spree. And they go and they slaughter 63 innocent civilians. These are just like moms, bakers, random people, just to send a message to Bukele.
Wow.
So that
Talked to the wrong guy.
because I want to say they shot one of his deputies' children or something like that. But it forced, it was so outrageous. It might have just been the 63 deaths, but something happened that forced the members of Congress that were against him, because there was so much public outrage, that they had to vote,
even though they're
give him the authority.
Paid, but they had to, or the public was going to go after him,
because the cartels that slaughtered them were going to walk. If he didn't change the laws, Congress didn't vote, then if they killed more people, it would have been on that Congress. Mm-hmm. That weekend they killed 172 innocent people slaughtered. So what the vote was to suspend the Constitution, give him authoritarian control. He forces a law through that gives him the authority, the police officer with the authority, that if you are covered from head to toe and you have tattoos on your face,
gang tattoos,
that tell me how many people you've killed, and this is common knowledge, you are going to prison for life and you're not getting a trial. So he went around and arrested 88,000 of the most deadliest gangbangers and cartels and drug dealers. He went town to town. And so in these towns in El Salvador, the cartels would control the town. So they would have basically like a headquarters, stuff, right? Like a police department almost. Mm-hmm. So when Bukele went into one town, take the town over, the good citizens that were still there, they wanted a job, they could get deputized, become police officers. They were given the cartel's headquarters, and they became the police of that town, right? And he went from town to town, and then when he would want to go to another town, the police officers from 5 other towns would come in, coordinate together with the military, and they would go in and they would clear this town. Yeah. And it went from being like, oh, if you snitch on somebody and they catch that you snitch or they think you're snitch, they're going to kill your whole family, right? The cartels are brutal. They'll cut your head off and they'll serve your head to your aunt's house, right?
Torturing people and brutalizing them. Yeah, I'm terrified. Kill your whole family.
Yep. So back in the day, until Bukele, basically, the businesses that operated in El Salvador paid the cartels for safety, and it was just common. Like they did it, and they didn't even mind. It was just like business as usual.
Yeah.
Because
they were so used to it.
They didn't have to pay taxes. So it was just like, we don't pay taxes. We pay the cartels to protect us. My business is open. I'm not getting robbed. If anything happens, they'll kick some ass. So that's just how business was done. But went from that to the safest country in Latin America.
One of the worst, one of the safest.
Yep. So 172 gang-related homicides in one weekend, 63 murders in one day, to over the 2024, not entire gang-related homicide the entire year. I think there was only 123 or 172 murders the entire year. And like we said yesterday, you're always going to get the husband or wife gets drunk, catch their husband cheating on her and runs him over with a car.
But I believe it's like way safer than U.S. and stuff now, and it was literally one of the worst. But it shows if he can do that, we can do that in America.
So how did he do it?
We might need to suspend the Constitution and arrest these basically cartels running America.
He impeached the liberal judges, which was super important, right? When your judges are trying to basically undermine the president.
The DAs are against it,
Yeah, you can't let a local, like even Trump, whether you love him or hate him, you can't let a local judge, like a city judge, who, I don't know, maybe didn't even get elected, who just happened to, like, somebody died and this guy was like third in line and just happened to be installed there. This judge is writing bills or whatever he's doing to try to prevent the president from running a country. You can't, like, that's, I get you have to have some checks and balances, like a Supreme Court that can override them.
But maybe we hit a point where they need to disappear for a while and people need to be rounded up.
I think it's at that point.
I don't think there's any other
because
point.
you look at what this entire operation, right? It's all funded by the gosh damn money, Jake. They could track a January 6er who, had his cell phone at the Capitol.
That was the largest FBI operation of all time. January 6th, a small protest, not child trafficking.
Not child trafficking. They took Steve Friend, one of my good buddies. He's the FBI whistleblower. Same with Garrett O'Boyle, Kyle Seraphin. Like, these men should have their names engraved into history. They should be on gosh damn Mount Rushmore, because there's, out of the 66,000 government agents, Border Patrol, FBI, ATF, I can name like all of them on two hands that came forward as whistleblowers over the last 4 years. What fucking cowards. What happened to the American spirit? What happened to No Man Left Behind?
Fucking cowards. That's why I'm so sick of people telling me like, oh, I can't speak up. You're brave, but I can't. It's like, God, so many fucking cowards. People always tell me like,
cowards,
oh, we can't win this battle. Like, so we're not even going to try. Imagine if people like had that attitude during like the revolution or stuff. Like, it doesn't take a lot of men to change society.
No, and look at how much damage some of these anonymous accounts have done.
Yeah,
right.
The anons of
and people give the anons like, oh, you give you shit, you're anonymous. Well, I get it,
but they've helped too. Some of these accounts putting great reports together.
Dude, great reports. Like Gen X girl. She's fucking killing it. AI track.
Uncommon Sense. Unfortunately, I think Censored Man got
Truth Teller.
by the IDF.
How about JQ? Our boys over at JQ Radio.
Yeah, no, tons of them.
Wolf.
They're helping spread the truth and get the word out there. And I understand.
Funk.
I'm critical, but I also am self-employed and I can feed my family and stuff. So it's tough when they try to you can't feed your kids. That's what they want to threaten you with.
I've been there, man. I got my YouTube channel got demonetized because I put out a video that said Andrew Tate saying that Bitcoin is a better investment than buying a house, right? If it wasn't for Andrew Tate, I would not be here today. I would not have made one video on child trafficking, because I took, like you said, I don't ever ask for donations. I don't promote my Give, Send, Go. I was fortunate enough to get into Bitcoin a little bit early. I have a little bit of a nest egg, so I told myself that I will fund the next three. I took 75 grand out of my Bitcoin to fund 3 documentaries at 25 grand a piece, so I could put out 3 at least. And I'm just going to put a donation link. And if people want to donate, if they watch my work and they're like, wow, I feel like sitting through this documentary was worth $5, so I would have spent at the movies.
Yeah,
and they donate.
I'm definitely going to donate something because I know what you're doing, such a good cause. And it's like, even if it's something small, people can donate $5. Like you said,
and I'm never brought to you by Pfizer.
You don't have much money, just anything to help. Like I said, you're not like begging, asking for it because you're doing it, but it's just good. It's good to help give back too to people that are really doing work, because you could be getting rich if you're being a grifter.
I could.
Real quick, how much? You must have like tons of large medias and podcasts trying to contact you, considering the important work you're doing.
Oh, I have to turn them down, man. There's so many.
Nonstop. Yeah. CNN, Fox.
ABC,
Tucker, Hannity, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro. They must be lined up.
Oh, Shapiro's lining up, man. He's I can't even open my DMs. There's so many.
Crazy. The biggest ones have been some few mid-sized podcasts, like growing. Like you've done Stu Peters. He's pretty big. I'm growing, but I'm still a smaller podcast. Like, what else have you? Like, no one's bringing you on when you're talking about these important, government trafficking operations that you can see.